Today we continue our series on entrepreneurship. Basically, as you have heard before, the idea of this program is to instill entrepreneurship thinking among our youth so that they decide also to get into business. We all know that the employment situation both in Goa and in the country is pretty rough at the moment. And therefore, if more of our people get into business, not only they secure themselves, but they give others a chance to get employment. So today, we are happy to introduce to you Mr. Leander Ataide, who is the proprietor of the company he calls the Centurions in Mapsa. Mr. Ataide, thank you so very much for being with us this morning. And we would like to hear more about what Centurions is all about. So can you briefly tell us what you all do and why you all do what you all do?
First of all, I'd like to thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity to come on this forum. So let us speak a little bit about Centurions. We at Centurions are a company which provide a complete electrical solution to basically everyone, be it a homeowner, be it an industrialist, be it a business owner, anyone who has electricity basically, we would be servicing them. Now how do we do that, or what do we do? We all have electricity. Now when we are designing a system, it is very important to make sure that the right material or the right size or right capacity is used for your particular need. If that is not done that way, the issue is you're going to have all your appliances, whatever are connected, are going to get damaged basically. So that is what we do. We design an entire system for you, from the very small wire right up to a major transformer which supplies the power from the electricity grid to your system. That would be for new homeowners. Now there's an interesting thing we've started out. For people who already have an existing home with your normal electricity connection, what happens is, although everything seems to be all fine, there are high chances that the connections in your system is faulty. We found a lot of cases where people are getting high bills, sometimes shocks. You must have noticed that the appliances are getting burnt, or the plug points are getting burnt for whatever reason. And just looking at it, it is not that easy to figure out what has happened. It's as simple as this. Looking at a normal person, you cannot tell what is his pressure or if he is experiencing any ailments. So for that you go to a doctor. The doctor will ask you for your symptoms, and then he will ask you to run some tests. Based on those results, he will tell you approximately what is the thing. Similarly here, we have devised a system wherein we connect it to your premise or to your power supply, and we run our tests, and if there is any fault anywhere in your electrical system, be it the wires, be it the appliances, it detects the precise fault and where is the location of this fault. So this at Centurions is what we basically do.
Oh, that sounds very, very interesting, because I know that in Goa there are umpteen problems with regard to electricity. High bills is only one of the lesser evils, but burning wires, electric points getting burnt and this thing like that is quite common. So I'm very, very delighted to know that we have an entrepreneur in Goa who can sort this out. And I'm told by, let us call you doctor now, because you will give an example of a doctor. So Dr. Leander will tell us that about how was this not done in the early days, or why was it not done in the early days, this particular system that you have, is this your own discovery or what is it?
So basically what happened was, I sat with a few engineers of the electricity department also, and they explained to me that this is the problem what are occurring. And fortunately for me, I have specialized in this by doing a master's in engineering, electrical engineering that is, and I had a way of figuring out the different types of problems or where they are existing. So what we did, we sat across and we designed a system, a compact one, where which detects actually every sort of problem what is occurring in an electrical system. So while starting, initially it was more about providing this service free of cost to people, because it is difficult for a person to trust a 20-year-old. That is when we started it in college. People would be more comfortable talking to a person who is having 10 years or 20 years in the industry. So for us it was a big uphill task actually when we started. So what we did was we approached people. We told them we will check your system free of cost. If you like what we do, recommend us to your friends, to your family, to your neighbors. And that is how this has picked up basically now.
All right. So there we have it. If you have an electrical problem and you don't know what to do and where to go, now you know that there is in Mapsa a place called the Centurions, where Doctor, I'll call him Doctor just for this particular moment because he actually gave a very nice example of how doctors treat people with problems and send them for various tests, etc., etc. So Dr. Leander will be very happy to sort out your problems. Now, Leander, you mentioned something very interesting. You said that you were only 20.
Yes.
Surely you didn't do your master's at 20. So
No.
how did it all begin then? I mean, what was the thing that prompted this thing to start?
So basically, this began, since I'm an engineer, what happened was a lot of people were of the impression that an engineer can solve basically any electrical fault in the house. So I sat down, did a little study of what were the problems, understanding what are the problems of the people, what was occurring, and based on that we tried to find solutions to them. So initially it was small things which came up, but as we went on, we figured that yes, this could be converted into a full-time business. And that's how Centurions was born, basically.
So you started Centurions even before you finished your bachelor degree?
Yes. Centurions was started actually while I was in my 3rd year of engineering.
Okay.
That time it started as a small time. We were just helping out people with documentation, the electricity department work, finding out rectifying small faults here and there. Okay. So, this is how it was.
And having said that, how has it grown since then?
So since then, Centurions has gone into a full-time designing major systems in the electrical field, even for industries and hotels, which require these big panels or big transformers to run their heavy loaded systems. Yes.
All right. Okay. So can you give us 1 or 2 examples of big industries or medium-sized industries who you have helped and they are very happy with the result?
Okay. So I'll give you an example of this hotel actually. They had problems where their system was going off, or basically the MCB which is there, the control system, was tripping again and again, and they could not seem to find out what was the fault. So when we went there, we did an analysis. It took us quite a while actually, and we figured out that somewhere internally in their kitchen there was something called a leakage. What this leakage is basically, if your wire has been eaten up by ants or rats or anything for whatever reason, it has been exposed. That wire comes in contact with the ground, and all your electricity gets drained to the ground. So what that does is you're being charged for electricity you're not really using. And that was causing the control system to shut down immediately. So when we ran our tests, after a while we found the precise location and we rectified this fault. Now this would be on the front of the fault finding part. When you talk about the initial installation, we have designed a lot of panels, a lot of electrical systems for a lot of builders in Mapsa, Panjim, Margaon, you name it, where we give them a complete solution to the entire problem or entire electrical system basically.
Again, a very interesting thing you mentioned, because this problem is recurring in almost every household as far as I know. There are ants in the electrical system. There are rats eating the wires. Isn't there a permanent solution to this?
So yes, first of all, that brings to mind actually, we've even found a snake in the panels actually, you know. So the ants, rats, rodents, pests like we call them, they are a persistent problem which is occurring in the electrical system. And yes, there are solutions to that. When you design your system, it has to be compact so that there is no possibility of them entering. Now when you will tell me that the ant is so small, it's pretty easily for them to come inside. So for that, you have special coated wires which have come in the market, which prevent the ants from going and eating up the system.
All right, okay. So there you have it now. So if you don't have that protective stuff, again, you have to talk to Dr. Leander, because this is a serious problem, because A, you are paying extra money for no reason or rhyme, and B, you're putting your house at a risk, because things can burn and create all sorts of problems. Anyway, let's go back a little bit. Tell me, was it a very big financial thing for you to get into business, or how did the financial aspect be handled by you?
So when we first started, basically, as a student, obviously you do not have much money in your pocket, or you don't have much access to much finance. So with whatever we could get, we used that, and what we focused on was using our talents or expertise to start this business. So that goes to show that you do not need to take heavy loans or something to start up a business. If you have the skill, if you have the determination and a little hard work in there, then definitely you can do a lot without having so much money.
Can you give us a rough, I'm not getting inquisitive in how you started, but give us a rough thing of what was the initial investment in your company?
So to begin with, after collecting a little pocket money here and there, we started off with about 20,000. That's what, because we needed to buy a few equipment to run a few certain tests. With that, with whatever money we collected from there, we went on to purchase the higher grade equipments.
Okay.
So that is how we built.
And now in Goa we have the EDC and we have SIBA. And there are banks as well who help young people who are thinking of starting business. You didn't approach any of these?
So the thing was, I did approach SIBA, not on the financial front. So SIBA also conducts a lot of workshops, be it in the marketing or any way where they can help a budding entrepreneur do something. So they have their cubicles also, incubation centers they call them, where you can go there, you can have an office space which helps you run your business and improve your business. They have mentors who come in and help you, who have been in the industry for years together, and they come and give their expertise to you, which you can use to build your business in the future. So this is the help I took from SIBA.
All right, but you didn't take any financial help from EDC or the banks or anything like that?
No, I did not need back then, but in the future I would be needing, and that's when I will be approaching EDC for the business loans, because EDC also have a lot of facilities where they provide loans to budding entrepreneurs. There are a lot of schemes. You can visit their website. They have the people, they are very friendly. You have a good idea, you go forth to them, put it across, and definitely they will fund you for it.
Right. Now, okay, so you started with 20K and it went off well, it's going well. What about the gestation period? Is there a long gestation period, or do the profits keep coming, or how long does it take to say, yes, I am now okay?
So that basically would be a question depending on what business you're starting.
Yeah. I'm talking about your business.
Yes, in my case, it was difficult at the beginning, because like I said, it is difficult for someone to trust a 20-year-old with the entire system. So we had to use a lot of methods, marketing, a lot of strategies to actually make a presence felt in the market. And yes, the profits did not come initially at all. It took us a good 2 years actually to figure out and actually make something of it.
All right, 2 years, that's quite some time. Now, looking at it from a broader perspective, the government is very, very keen on helping young people like yourself. Do they give you any incentives in terms of lesser taxes or any incentives in terms of growing faster and maybe providing employment to young people?
So basically in terms of taxes, not much, but they do provide low interest loans to people who are wanting to start something, for budding entrepreneurs especially.
So that is what you're looking for in the future?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Now, if you look at it, if I've got you right now, if I've understood you correctly, you're the only one in Goa that has got this kind of a box, or call it a way to find out, an X-ray machine if you like, whatever, to find out that something is wrong with a household or a business or whatever. So what are your plans for expanding the business into, say, you got an enterprise in Mapsa. What about an enterprise in Margao or in Vasco or in Ponda? Are you thinking in those lines?
So yes, actually we are planning of taking this throughout Goa, because not just in the fault finding aspect of it, but also in actually going into manufacturing of the electrical panel boards, etc. We would be designing and also manufacturing it completely, so we could reduce the costs and provide a better solution to people.
But wouldn't that be duplicating the business in a sense, because panel boards are already available in the market?
So that's again where expertise come into play. Panel boards are existing, but to design an optimized system at a low cost, that is a task. Because what happens is, in an electrical system, if you do not install the right system, you end up paying 2 or 3 times the amount what you would normally pay in the first place. So it is extremely crucial to make sure that your system is right in the first place itself. So we would be combining everything, that is the fault finding as well as our expertise in designing, make it a single unit like what we've been doing, but we'll be doing this on a much larger scale in the future to provide for, to cater to a larger audience basically.
So you really have big plans for the future. Now, in terms of employment for younger electrical engineers or even other staff, what is the position currently and what do you think is the position in the future?
So basically there's something what I believe in. We hire freshers, and there's the reason for that. When they come out fresh from college, they usually go to industries and do any sort of job what possible. Many times they don't really learn much. At Centurions, a person coming fresh out of college will be able to use whatever he has learned in college directly in the field. This would build up his experience many-fold compared to working in a big company as it is. That's a big advantage of working with a startup. And yes, coming to the number of people, currently I have 5 people who are working with me to make this a grand success.
And in the forthcoming future, when you actually start building panels and creating within them safety measures, etc., etc., what is your forecast in terms of employment?
So definitely, if it comes to manufacturing, the number of people would build up at least 10 times, clearly. Yes.
And would the government or EDC give you ready-made premise or premises to do your business, or would you have to build it on your own, or how does it actually work?
So the government or EDC basically provides loans which help you set up these industries. So they give you benefits, low interest rates, which help you to start up now, since we've already started, to enhance our business in the future. So that involves building costs, material costs, machinery costs, and all that. They help you get loans to buy these things basically.
Okay, so you have done your bachelor's degree and then you did your master's in
Yes.
electrical engineering. In terms of our young lads who are in college, who are doing bachelor's at the moment, would you advise them to go for masters or would you advise them to start working? What would you say is the right thing for them to think about?
Now see, what happens is education is something that I always consider of immense value. The reason being, we never stop learning. So even if you plan of taking up a job, I would suggest to do masters, because masters always helps you specialize in a particular field of your choice, which enhances your skills, and tomorrow definitely you will obviously use that in the future to be better in whatever you do.
All right. One of the complaints that usually people in industry, like for example Infosys, they apparently take young engineers and before they put them to work, they give them 5 months of further training. Reason being that they say that what you have learned in college is kind of old stuff. You have not gone into the real world, which is the current world, which is already in terms of technology has improved 100-fold compared to what they teach you. How far you think that is true in terms of the reality of life?
So when it comes to college, what happens, the syllabus is designed to cater to a wider audience or a larger number of students. They have to cater to the bright ones and not so bright ones also. So they cannot keep it that difficult as well as neither that easy. So what Infosys says, that the college is outdated, the syllabus is outdated, to an extent is true. Although what you learn there is the base of what you need for the future. So if your fundamentals are not strong, then tomorrow you're definitely going to have a big problem. So that is basically what I feel about college life.
Leander, thank you so much for giving us such a lot of wonderful new information, which I'm sure both the people who have their own homes or their own industries will want to know who is this guy who has started this thing. And you have given a word of encouragement to our young people that it is definitely worth thinking of business rather than thinking of employment, because that way you are helping yourself and many more. So thank you very much, and we wish you continued luck and success in your venture.
It's my pleasure.
Let's Centurions grow.
Thank you so much.
All the best. Yeah.